So as a kid, I participated in lots of sports. I did gymnastics, I did horseback riding, I did dancing, soccer, basketball, all sports. I tried them. I was never very good at them. So for me, individual sports were always the thing to do. So when I was 13, I found biathlon. So biathlon is skiing and shooting. Because the Olympics just happened, a lot more people are familiar with the visual of the high end of the sport. So I started doing biathlon in cadets. I was a cadet for 6 years with the Air Cadets. I was always a runner, physically strong, again, really good at all the individual sports. But it was really the shooting that I enjoyed the most. And the skiing, I would have to really, really work at. I was not a good skier. During cadets, I went to 2 national championships. I medaled with team events. So biathlon actually is a team sport. You train as a team, you go to competitions and do relay races as a team. So it's really, while what you do in your portion of the race is individual, you still get that team aspect of wanting to achieve the same goal. So I medaled at Cadet Nationals. Off of those results, I was recruited by the provincial team in Ontario to attend Ontario Winter Games, where I medaled for the first time individually. From there, I really kind of sparked my interest to pursue biathlon at a higher level, as well as the fact that I really, really loved competing. I loved the high of it. It was so much fun. And you know, yes, you get to stand on the podium, but it was more than just that. It was the whole process that I really enjoyed. So I started looking for places to go to school. I looked in Maine. I could do biathlon outside of school and try and make the two kind of jive together. But at University of Alberta, Augustana, which is a campus just south of Edmonton, it's in a really, really small town, they are the only Canadian university that has a biathlon team. That is university varsity sport, just like our rowing. It kind of goes on the same scale. We competed all over the province. We trained in Northwest Territories. We went to national championships across the country, all as a team. I was also a cross-country runner for 3 years in the CCAA. So I did biathlon as well as cross-country running. I was scholarshiped in both, which was another positive going into that school, is that I could get a lot of my education covered. Being a two-sport athlete, I'm sure many of you know, it's a big time commitment. You have to balance classes as well as team practice, additional training. For me, anywhere on a low week, you would have 6 hours of training. On a really heavy week, you could have anywhere from 25 to 30 hours of training on top of classes and all those things. So finding that balancing act in all of that between, you know, prepping my equipment, physical therapy, the sports psychology side of things, studying, having a university social life we all enjoy having. I really wondered a lot of the times, how do I balance all these things? And it was never the perfect fit all the time. It was extremely unbalanced at times. In my rookie year, I struggled academically, and in my 3rd year, I struggled with meeting my athletic goals in my 3rd and 4th year. I learned to set goals, both short and long-term goals. So heading into my first summer of full-time training after my 1st year, after I got a swift kick in the butt and said, get your act together, if you want to do this, be serious about your goals, I set a few for myself. I wanted to attend Canada Winter Games and gain a top 10 placing. In 2007, I went to the White Horse Games, and I got a top 10 placing. I was like, yes. All right. 1. The next one, I wanted to go to FISU Games, which is World University Games. I went to World University Games in 2009 in Harbin, China. I also wanted to represent my country. I wanted to wear Canada across my back and race for Canada. Goal achieved, right there. During the 2009 and 2010 season, I set my sights on achieving an international racing tour. So you don't necessarily make the national team to go on an international racing tour. You actually have to pay to go on these tours. You've got to go to 1 weekend of racing and beat that person by, like, you know, you've got to beat them by 1 second. Okay. That goal for me never came to fruition. While in my 2009-2010 season, I started working with the Student Athlete Council. We have one here with all our student leaders on it. They get around, they discuss topics about the department, how we can help out. With becoming part of that group, I helped bring about a branding change within our athletic department. We went from an old logo to a new logo, brought about a new fan identity, and that kind of bred my passion for marketing and management in sports, which has led me to the job that I have now. While I never achieved those athletic pursuits, I think in the back of my mind, I knew I was never going to be a professional athlete like Yo said, you know. Sometimes biathlon was never going to make me money, or you're never the 6'7" athlete to make the NBA. I knew that as a biathlete, the Olympics were never my goal, but I also knew, but never really thought it out loud, that I couldn't be an athlete forever. In hindsight, that has come a little bit more full circle. So I was offered a position of sports information at Augustana. I continued to train hard in my last summer of training after graduation. I did 300 hours of training in 4 months, and I was offered the position. I decided, well, okay, things are kind of panning out on my professional side. Maybe it's time to give this a rest. I decided to retire from biathlon in August. I quit cold turkey. No more training. Monday came around, there was nothing. No running, no weightlifting, no hours of thinking about sports psychology, or what I had to train the next day or eat the next day just to get through the week. Cold turkey, no more. So I did just about no physical activity for a year and a half. Very, very little. Got back into the gym, started working out, doing little internet workouts. It was good. It was okay. You know, nothing got extreme or anything like that. I wanted to somehow find my way back to skiing and biathlon. I found that through coaching. I started coaching. I started mentoring athletes on the provincial team. I also went back to cadets. Every time I go home out east, I do coaching clinics for cadets that they can either stay in cadets and do really, really well, or they can go to university and go do biathlon. Do the same thing, like Juliana said. You can show kids that there's a way for sports to bring more to your life. Last March, I competed in my first national championships post-retirement. I came out of retirement. They were here in Whistler last March, so I decided, you know what? I'll pull out the skis, I'll pull out the rifle. Sure, let's try it. Actually, this was last March. In the snow, I had some family come out, some friends come out on a trip. It was so much fun. It was the most fun I've ever had at national championships. No pressure. There was, there was no training leading up to it. It was just pure joy. And I realized that I could be a recreational athlete in this sport and still have fun and still give back to it through coaching and doing all the mentoring that I was doing. And I think, at least I hope, I brought a little bit more of a fun, relaxed atmosphere to the kids so they could enjoy it as well. So, let me get a few more pictures. Canada Games. This is in China. Minus 25 in just about every major competition I've ever been to. It's super cool. Summer training. We train year-round. This is roller skiing.
Is that like the same, you get the same workout from that?
It's harder, actually. Yeah. So, like Alexa said, I moved here in October of last year. Yeah, year and a bit now. So with the move to a new city and the new job, and I just, again, found my love of biathlon again. I was getting back into it. and I was really starting to remember how much I enjoy being physically fit. So, like many people, I was first introduced to CrossFit over the internet. The website, they have crossfit.com, you see the workouts, you're like, oh my god, that looks crazy. You watch the videos you see online is a lot of the high-end performance side of things, but you walk into a local CrossFit gym here in Abbotsford. I went to CrossFit Abbotsford, it's right downtown. Walked in there, put my money down on a foundations class. Foundations class starts with teaching you the fundamental skills of CrossFit, as well as mobilizing techniques and proper mechanics of all the movements that you see in CrossFit. Who knew, after all my years of doing training with trainers and on my own, that I had no idea how to squat properly. Also, I had no idea how to get maybe that little extra out of my performance by doing it properly the first time. By being more flexible, by being more mobile. I realized quickly that learning these things about proper movement and physical self-maintenance, that I could have been a better athlete when I was a biathlete. Things I've learned in the last year have just, it's like, oh, mind-blowing. If I had known that, I probably wouldn't have hurt myself, or I probably wouldn't have, been as exhausted as I was at the end of a 25-hour week. So, looking back on it, it's a different fitness regime that can be very applicable to athletic performances in sports across the board. I was now learning to be a functional athlete, ready for the known and unknowable in every session of the gym and in every time I wanted to do something physically active outside of my life. I started out going twice a week, then I went 3 times a week, and now I find myself there 6 days a week. 6 days a week, about an hour to an hour and a half a day. I enjoy the challenges that I face every day in the gym. There's no shortage of skills in CrossFit. We call our challenges in CrossFit skills that really get hands down walking, and the ever elusive muscle up. If you've never seen it on YouTube, go ahead, look it up. It's a pretty difficult skill that I even tried it before I came here today, just in case. It just magically would show up today. It's not there yet. I keep getting drawn back by the physical challenges that the sport presents, but it is also the community that I've become a part of that has made the whole experience truly exceptional. While I'm setting personal bests in the gym, I almost get more enjoyment from watching other people get personal bests in the gym. Someone can get their first simple as their first pull-up, or they get their first push-up, or they get their first ring dip, or they get a personal best on a squat or a deadlift. The joy that that brings to some people who have either been really physically fit and they just achieved something they never thought they could do, or even people that, are your average soccer mom, basketball mom who just, never thought they'd pick that weight up off the floor. They can do it. And it's a great, great moment to watch. These are some of the challenging skills. This is a bar muscle up instead of a ring one. And I was able to get it. That was a week ago. Just a few months into my CrossFit career, I signed up for my first competition. It was called the Aerobic Memorial. It's held at the Berry Festival every summer outside. Rocky came. It was pretty cool. So I realized from that competition that I missed being competitive. I didn't think I missed it as much as I did when I did that national championships, but it's that little spark that makes you want to try to do bar muscle ups until your hands are sore or until you just get it. So again, a few months later, I signed up for another competition. I signed up for a 2-day competition in North Vancouver, at North Vancouver CrossFit. First day, you do 2 Olympic lifts. The snatch and the clean and jerk, you have 3 attempts to hit a max lift. And you do it in front of a big crowd of people. They say your name, you walk out, it's nice and quiet, and you lift this weight over your head. It's a little daunting sometimes, but biathlon, I realized, had also prepared me for this, because I could come in to a biathlon range and completely ignore everything else that was around me. So I was able to take those skills and apply them to this competition. Morning was 2 lifts, followed by 4 more workouts spread over the next day and a half. Overall, I finished 18 out of 30. I also got 1 top 10 workout. In a rowing workout, I was really shocked. I'm not a rower, so it was pretty cool to just be amongst some of these top athletes in Canada West and be able to compare myself to others. From there, I've signed up for what's called the Crossfit Open. It's a worldwide CrossFit competition for 5 weeks. Every Thursday, they announce a workout on the internet. You have 4 days to perform the workout. Hopefully, you only do it once. I've done 2 twice, just because I wanted to try and better my score. I thought maybe I did something silly in the middle, so I did them again. With the Open, it gives a platform that you can compare yourself to those athletes you see on ESPN nowadays. The people you see on TSN, you can also compare yourself by your region, which is Canada West. It goes as far as Manitoba, as well as just the athletes in your gym. Right now, this was as of 6:15. I'm 130th out of 1,800 female athletes in Canada West. And the one on the right is the number of athletes, female athletes in CrossFit that are registered for the Open. So I'm 4,300 so far. Really, what I guess my point of all my story is, I go back into the gym every day because it challenges me, because I want to set new goals weekly, work on those goals, but also, again, because of the community. I've found a group of friends, like-minded, and some people that I never thought I would be friends with, that we can go in there, support each other, and it has that team feeling again, for me as well. Again, setting goals for yourself, really important, both in physical fitness, as well as in your professional careers. Like Joe said, find a passion and really, really go for it. You don't want to be doing something that maybe doesn't spark that fire. And for me, right now, that's CrossFit again. It's really nice to have found that thing that brings passion back to my life. Also, be a leader in whatever you do. Be a leader giving back to the community. Give back to your sport where you can. Lastly, as most of you, I think, are university athletes or aren't, I thought my university career ended at graduation, and I started being a professional. I started being an event coordinator. Started working for the university. I thought my athlete career was done. It's not done. You can be physically fit for the rest of your life. You can have that spark, whether it's in the recreation, going to beer league hockey, or however you want to pursue that goals, those goals that you set for yourself, you can be an athlete for life, is really the point. So I hope you can all find that thing.